Is she on field 2 right now?
You got a kid.
Field 2 right now, or yeah? I saw we were on 3 practicing.
No, I got the other cabin you did though. I was down there all weekend.
Not very popular meeting.
Got you. Wow. Wow.
People looked at the agenda and said,
What's that?
nothing interesting.
Nothing exciting.
Right? Some of them, a couple have been here.
What's that?
The time. Please rise. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Meeting of the Wahoo City Council, Tuesday, June 27th, 7 o'clock p.m. Announcement of open meetings is posted on the wall. Call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Stuart Creachy.
Here.
Shane Sweet.
Here.
Carl Warford.
Here.
Ryan Ideas.
Here.
Chris Rappel.
Here.
Patrick Nagel.
Here.
No proclamation. Any comment from the audience? We only have one. Don't need his comments right now.
Keeps turning my power on.
Department head reports, none for this tonight. Consent agenda.
Can I?
Oh, you want to have one?
Can I? I have a few
I know we're not
things.
gonna break a record tonight, but.
Is that pressure, Jerry?
No, I'm on a roll, going.
Okay, so we previously approved the bond for the Wilmer Ridge subdivision bond anticipation notes. Those closed actually, I signed the final documents today. We got a 4% at par. Some of them were purchased locally. They have a final maturity date of December of 2026, but they have an early call of July 12th of 2024. So if the project is finished by July 12th of 2024 and we're ready to move into permanent financing and the interest rates are favorable, we can do that. Or if they're not so favorable, we can hold out until December of 26 if we feel so inclined. Kevin reported to me that the solar street lights are up in the Hackberry parking lot if you want to drive by and take a look at them. Wilmer Ridge is still pretty much on course. K2 is currently not on site. They have something else going on, but all of the sanitary sewer has been installed. Their next pieces will be water and storm sewer, and they're bringing 2 crews to work on that, so they're still intending to meet the target final completion, substantial completion of, I think it's October 12th, with the project wrapped up completely by the 1st of November. We received the filing for North Highlands Phase 2, which is the remaining lots. That is still, was approved under the preliminary plat. The entire area was laid out when they submitted their preliminary plat, so this will be the final plat process only. That final plat is going to the Planning Commission at their August meeting, and then we'll have a public hearing on that at our first meeting in August. So that was submitted, and we're reviewing those items. There's not going to be a lot of infrastructure because a good majority of that was installed with Phase 1. I have been working with our attorney, Andrew Willis from Klein Williams, on the redevelopment amendment and agreement for the Kennedy Park project. And that will be on the Planning Commission's agenda for a public hearing at their July meeting. And then at our next council meeting, it will be coming to you as well. We've been working with Mike Sullivan and negotiating through that. And I think we're ending up with a product that will be good for both of us, both the city and for the developer. And I hope to be getting that out to you maybe by the end of, well, maybe the middle of next week, the 5th or the 6th, so that you have plenty of time to review it and ask questions if so inclined. You may have seen Joe and his guys working on the drainage way behind JEO and down behind those homes. They've been doing some cleaning, removing the trees that have grown up. They have someone coming on Thursday with a long arm to dig out the retention basin. And we've talked through the planting of the basin on the north side of 23rd Street in the fall. So we're trying to take care of many things as we can that we can control without bringing in a big contractor to do any kind of work back behind those houses. We have been getting a lot of complaints about City View Apartments, and I just wanted to let you know, if you have gotten any calls, we have had conversations with the owner of that property, and his response has been, I have a cash flow issue, so as soon as I have some cash, I'll take care of the things that I need to. So the taxes on that property have been sold. The soonest that those certificate holders could file for foreclosure is, I think, March of 26, if I'm not, or 25 or 26, do you remember what I told you?
I think 26 sounds right.
26, yeah. So we've got a ways to go. If you, for those of you,
Deal, right?
yeah, for those, I think, do you remember Gary Hassenflu when? Yes, so,
He's living down to his expectations.
yes, the TIF was closed out. We met all of our obligations on that, and at that point, that's when the taxes stopped being paid by him, so. I guess I just want you to know that I have had conversations directly with him. We're working on getting someone to come in and mow. We had to go through the nuisance process, and of course, their response from the owner address is basically nothing. I don't know that we've gotten anything, so. Other than that, we are gearing up for budget season. I attended the accounting and finance school last Thursday, one session, and the state auditor's office was there to talk about the budget. One of the things that has changed this year is now if we participate in the joint public hearing, it is law now that there needs to be an elected representative present at the meeting. So I know several of you were there last year, but now you don't have to stand up and speak. You don't have to do any kind of presentation unless you really want to, but you're obligated to be at the meeting, at least one of you, so.
Is it subject to open meetings, or?
No,
if we
the
have a
statute is,
quorum, we're okay?
the statute specifically exempted attendance there from the open
We're
meeting
making,
notice requirements, so all of you can come.
yeah.
When is that?
Well, it depends.
it was September
It's
last
set
year.
by the county. All of those entities which I'm, based on the way some of the other things happen, the school funding and such, I'm not sure there'll be anyone there other than the cities in Saunders County, second-class cities, maybe the community college, because they still are able to levy a tax this year, but I don't know if all of the school districts will be there or not. I guess I'm not well-versed in that, but.
Where does this take place at?
This last year was the first year they had it, and it was at the Performing Arts Center up at the public school. And there was the city of Ashland, the city of Wahoo, and then several school districts that participated in it. And I think there was maybe, 100 people there? I think that
I
was,
would say so.
yeah.
And half of them had an opinion to speak. Which they can.
Right, but the majority of the comments were about the valuation. My valuation is too high. My valuation is too high. Not about the actual tax levy and the city's spending. Yeah.
Yeah, that was right around, I guess.
It's between the 14th and 24th is what,
Right.
the statute changed a little bit for this year.
Right.
So I think that's all I have.
Thank you. Now, consent agenda. We have a couple appointments, reappointments for the planning and zoning. All three that were eligible signed up again. Board of Adjustment, we have one to contact, and I'm pretty sure Chad will renew, but we weren't able to get a hold of him in time for publication, so.
A lot to talk about at your planning commission meeting. Interesting. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Second. Discussion? Roll call.
Krejci?
Yes.
Rappel?
Yes.
Nagel?
Yes.
Ideas?
Yes.
Warford?
Yes.
Sweet?
Yes.
No public hearings, no old business, nothing tabled. Action items, first reading of ordinance number 2437, annexation of the water tower site.
I guess I can. Making this statement makes me sound like I'm ignorant about the city boundaries, but I did not realize that the water tower was not within city limits, or we would have annexed it at the same time we did the North Highland subdivision. So we are cleaning that up, and it should be pretty straightforward. So, do you have any comments, Ryan?
I think that when it's annexed, the city agreed to pay for any fencing around it, right?
Right, yeah. Sarcasm there.
Seem like that's a thing.
Yeah,
we
now we
own the
can,
ground.
now we can start taxing you.
We own the ground, it's not in city proper, not in city limits?
Yeah, sure. We own the property, but it's not in the city limits.
We should probably fix that.
I think there are maps that actually have it marked that way, which is,
Make a motion to introduce the ordinance.
Okay,
I'll second that. I'll make a motion to waive the 3 readings.
we can't actually waive the 3 readings on an annexation, so it'll be first reading.
First reading it is.
Good effort.
I tried. I feel like this is a thing that like we should probably have a water
try
tower.
it. Okay, who made
Yes.
the,
Yeah, it was built in
Introduction,
77,
you did.
so really not my fault.
okay,
Before my time.
any questions?
It's not wrong.
Roll call on the first reading.
Krejci?
Yes.
Ideas?
Yes.
Sweet?
Yes.
Warford?
Yes.
Rappel?
Yes.
Nagel?
Yes.
Number 2, amendment to agreement with Olson to provide construction management services of SWPPP.
So I don't have an actual amendment available for you.
Yeah.
It hasn't been provided to me, but the SWIP, which is a stormwater I don't know what it stands for, Patrick, prevention and, I don't know, control. Anyway, stormwater control and inspection. The contractor is responsible for managing all the stormwater during construction. And then someone needs to audit that and make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. In our conversations with Olson, we sort of modeled our engineering agreement, not after, but like the one that we had for North Highlands. And in North Highlands, it was a different kind of arrangement. JEO did it and was paid for, the developer paid for it directly. The city wasn't involved in the SWIP at all. This situation, it's something that I missed in our construction engineering agreement or construction oversight agreement. So it's going to be about $6,800, and that is something that would be assessed to the lots, so, and factored into the total project cost. So if you would be so inclined to approve that, I would say if you could give me the authority to sign the agreement, or Jerry the authority, up to $6,800, we
So
would.
moved.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call.
Krejci?
Yes.
Nagel?
Yes.
Rappel?
Yes.
Sweet?
Yes.
Ideas?
Yes.
Warford?
Yes.
Number 3, approval of amendment of purchase power agreement with SOL Systems. You're up.
Good evening. At our most recent Board of Public Works meeting last week, I brought this amendment to our purchase power agreement for the solar farm. As a reminder, we are obligated, or we have signed the agreement to buy the power coming from that solar facility. When we started getting in the nuts and bolts of how we would meter the power coming out of it, in the agreement, we had established we would meter prior to the 600 volt by 12,470 transformer, so on the low side of the transformer. That was actually to the solar company's benefit, because then they weren't paying for we were buying power prior to the losses and transformation. However, when they started getting nuts and bolts, the operator of this farm, GenPro Solutions, felt that that was gonna be too cumbersome and wouldn't really work for being able to meter. They preferred it to be metered on the high side, meaning past the losses and transformation. And so, because it was established in our PPA, I was, excited for us to be able to do that. However, I knew we needed to amend that. We couldn't just do it without amending the contract. So I was surprised as much work as Renee and I went through to negotiate. If you guys remember how painful that process was, I expected this to be long drawn out, but it was pretty quick once they got it back to us. So this is actually a benefit to accept this amendment. It means we're only buying the actual power we get without that, about a 1% loss in transformation. So, yeah, not really much else about it. Everything else in the contract stays exactly the same, price and everything. And Joven did review to make sure there was nothing snuck in there that I didn't notice, so.
I move to approve the amendment.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Roll call.
Ideas?
Yes.
Rappel?
Yes.
Nagel?
Yes.
Warford?
Yes.
Sweet?
Yes.
Krejci?
Yes.
Number 4, approval of interlocal agreement with the Village of Weston for distribution of services.
So again, at our most recent Board of Public Works meeting, we had approved, the board members approved recommending to the city council this new contract with Weston. As a reminder, we have since 1993 provided water and wastewater certification services and operation and maintenance of their water and sewer collection and distribution systems. We also have provided operations and maintenance on their electric distribution system. We sell them wholesale power, and then we provide the operations and maintenance to their electric system and respond to outages, both on a preventative and corrective, all preventative and corrective work is performed by Wahoo Utilities. The contract is from 1993. We've never adjusted that pay that they were giving us. And in 1993, it was based on a just flat fee of $250 a month for electric services, $350 for water, and $450 for sewer. Again, I think you guys can imagine since 1993, pay and prices have changed a lot. So for us to go down and do any work on their electric system, we send a lineman with a bucket truck after hours. We're already eating costs, $250 for a month. So what we want to do, and Joven, as you guys probably realize, this is the year of contracts for Ryan. I'm trying to get all of our contracts cleaned up that we've got with different organizations. Joven and I, he put together this contract and mirrored most of the language off of our contract with the Village of Meade, and it's very similar to the language with the Village of Malmo. This contract is based on an hourly basis. So instead of just having a flat fee, which in the case of water and wastewater would actually save Malmo some money, because maybe some months we don't spend any time there on water and wastewater, so they would save a little bit of money on that. But ultimately, it's ensuring our ratepayers at Wahoo Utilities are never subsidizing the Village of Weston. So we again, they're great neighbors, and we are more than happy to continue providing those services. But I think we don't at all want to subsidize them through our ratepayers eating those costs. And again, neither do other power districts. It is not uncommon to have O&M agreements. Nebraska Public Power District, at my previous employer, City of Minden, we had an O&M agreement with Nebraska Public Power District. So this cost that we're basing it off of is set in the Board of Public Works policy manual. Our current rate is $50 an hour for labor and $50 an hour for certain equipment, but all of that is set and established, and we will renew that or review that annually and make adjustments as we make cost of living adjustments. So that's all stipulated in this contract, and does give us some plenty of legal protections. Joven's set that to ensure that we're legally protected. And it does also ensure that if we find things that are unsafe, it leaves a lot of control for the Village of Weston on what we do and do not do for them. barring we don't see there's something legally we feel obligated to do per state statute, or if we think there's a health or safety to issues to the public, general public, we're going to make those decisions with or without their consent. But again, that's like they would never they would never object to us making those types of critical decisions. So I did present this to the village board a month ago. I did tell them they could review it for a month. That being said, I'm I'm bringing it to you prior to them having approved it, because in my perspective, there is no negotiating on this. This is protecting us. All we're doing is charging exactly what it costs us in with certain employees. $50 an hour is probably not even fully covering, but I think it protects us and we're not subsidizing. And when I say that, I mean with their insurance and benefits included. So anyway, I don't know that there's negotiating that we're going to do with the village board. So I ask the Board of Public Works to approve this and recommend. They're recommending to you unanimously recommending to you to approve this contract with the Village of Weston, and it would be executed upon them approving it at their next village board meeting in July.
Question,
Yeah.
do we need extra employees for all of these services for these other communities?
Sure. I would make the argument for water and sewer. Part of the reason we need 5 staff members is because we are providing services to other communities. But we probably could get by with 4.5. So I think in a way, the services we're providing, it does help justify the need for the 5. But I don't think that we're bringing on multiple employees to serve this. With respect to the Village of Meade, there was a lot of time spent there initially, but as they've had an operator come on board and has been there for over a year now, she is able to operate by herself a lot, independently. And then the Village of Malmo and Weston don't really require a substantial amount of time. So it's probably more the emergency responses that are probably more of a nuisance. The electric system, we don't need to keep an extra lineman because of that for any reason. But there is work to do over there. I've been hesitant to have our employees do a lot of preventative maintenance on the electric because of how much we were subsidizing. For example, in electric alone, I think we subsidized over $11,000 just on our normal hours last year. In 2022, that didn't even include overtime hours. So I was hesitant for us to spend more time. So once this contract's executed, we'll probably spend some time tree trimming and doing some maintenance on their system, obviously upon their approval. But I didn't want our staff spending substantial amounts of time on our dime, or on the ratepayers of Wahoo's dime. So
Thank you for that explanation.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments? So this is be approved based on their approval?
correct, yep, and that way, when it's done, the mayor, you'd be able to sign.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Warford.
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes.
Krejci.
Yes.
Nagel.
Yes.
Rappel.
Yes.
Ideas.
Yes.
Okay, fifth one, closed session regarding lawsuit filed against the city of Wahoo by Tim Nordstrom. Want to explain any more?
Yeah, and so
Pretty well.
what we'll do is, we'll have somebody make a motion to go into executive session for purposes of the protection of public interest. The reason being that there is active litigation that we need to discuss within that motion. It should reference having certainly Melissa and myself present. I don't know, Melissa, you want to finish up the minutes and let Christina go? Or do you want Christina to stay? Whatever your preference is. I don't know if you have something going on tonight or not.
Whatever you need me to do.
Yeah. And then once you make that motion, before we go into closed session, we have to restate that purpose.
I'd make the motion to go into closed session for protection of public interest to discuss current litigation and invite the mayor, Jove, and Melissa, and
It's fine if she, yeah.
The mayor, Joven, and Melissa to join us.
Okay.
Early night for you.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, roll call.
Warford,
Yes.
Ideas.
Yes.
Rappel,
Yes.
Krejci.
Yes.
Nagel.
Yes.
Sweet.
Yes.
And again, for the record, we're going into closed session at 7:24. Not that anybody's here or it's videotaped, but for the protection of public interest as a result of the potential for litigation,